Exactly, because that's the point of the day, is to model ourselves after our forefathers, the things that were written that they did, that they went through. We should model our lives after those things. So get Sirach Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and start at verse 1.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance.
Read on.
A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing.
Read.
A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away.
Read.
A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, and a time to speak. A time to love, and a time to hate. A time of war, and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboreth?
So it's a time and a place for every single thing that we do in life. There's a time for us to build, time to cry, time to die, time to be born. There's a time for everything, and timing is everything. So get 1 Corinthians to explain what I'm saying. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and start at verse 1.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Wherefore I give you to understand that no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is the Lord, but by the Holy Ghost.
So what I wanted to touch on was the spiritual gifts. Everybody has a special talent. Everybody is given a certain position in this truth. It's up to you or the leader above you to bring out that full potential. We got to move in with the gifts that's given to us. Read verse 4.
Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit.
There are many different gifts. There's many different positions that each man is given. Read.
And there are differences of administrations.
You got a brother that's in sound. You got a brother that work the camera. You got people that teach. You got people that street teach. You got people that teach up here. You got people that can design. You got the sisters in the kitchen. You got sisters that are dealing with the children, security. There's different administrations, but it's all given by the same Spirit. Read.
But the same Lord. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which worketh all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal.
So this Spirit is given to us so we can all profit. But we have to be keeping the commandments to get the full potential of that of profiting. Get Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8.
Joshua chapter 1, verse 8. This book of the law shall depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success.
So you'll start to have good success if you study this Bible day in, day out. Because if you can learn this Bible, you can pretty much learn anything. Because we just that talented of people. If we can pick up this book and learn how to act out the ways of the Most High, there's no other book that we can't pick up and learn the ways of it. Get Genesis chapter 3 and verse 19. 3 and 19.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground.
So we cursed to work. In the beginning, it wasn't so. Adam had everything. All he had to do was maintain his position that he was given over everybody else in the world. But, of course, sin came in and we messed up. So now, yes, we got to work. Get Psalms 104:23.
Psalms chapter 104, verse 23. Man goeth forth unto his work, and to his labor until the evening. O Lord, how manifold are thy works, and wisdom hast thou made them all.
I only wanted 23. We are sent forth to work day in, day out. That's our job. That's what we have to do while we're placed on this earth. But the position that we're in is at the bottom. We think that we ain't nothing. We can only be employers. The jobs, the medial jobs that we have today, we can be so much better than that. Get Proverbs 29 and 18.
Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18. Where there is no vision, the people perish.
If we don't have a vision, we perish, and we see the fruits of that. We start to get high on drugs. We start to dibble and dabble in everything else because we don't have any vision anymore. We think that we nothing. Read on.
But he that keepeth the law, happy is he.
So we're going to be happy keeping the law. Get Proverbs 27 and 17.
Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
So we as brothers and sisters, we make each other better. So if you got a skill, pass your skill to me. If you got wisdom, pass your skill on to the next person. Finish that.
Verse 17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
So if we see each other as friends and family, we should be making each other better. We should be building each other up in the skills. No more are we sitting at home playing PlayStation and things of that nature. We should be around each other, building each other up, working on our skills. There's a lot that we can do. There's a lot that can be taught. There's a lot of knowledge in this room, and I see the fruits of it. But then we get lazy and go back and digress to that old person. I think there's brothers that can do it. It's other people that can do it. But that ain't how our forefathers were. We were always moving and working and creating new things, new ideas. 1 Kings chapter 3 and verse 5.
1 Kings chapter 3, verse 5. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. And God said, ask what I shall give thee. And Solomon said, thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth, and in righteousness, and in uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day.
So Solomon became king over all Israel, and the Most High came to him in a dream, and he asked him, what do you need? What do you want from me? So he's going into the dream of telling the Most High what he really wants, what he really desires as a man in his truth. Read.
And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad.
So Solomon, he didn't ask the Most High for riches. He didn't ask him for a long life. He didn't ask for the most beautiful wife in the whole world. He didn't ask for materialistic things. He wanted to know how to deal with his people. Read on.
For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? And the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, because thou asked for this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked for riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee.
So the Most High God made Solomon the wisest man that ever walked the face of the earth. And in his wisdom, it was a lot of things that came out in his time, and he exceeded all the men of the land just based off of wisdom. Not because he was the most handsome, because he had the most skills in this. It's because he could do certain things. It was because of his wisdom and how he handled the people. Get 1 Kings 9 and start at 26. We're going to see some of the things that were in King Solomon's time, things that he created, things that he set up.
1 Kings chapter 9, verse 26. And King Solomon made a navy of ships.
So we had navies, we had ships, we were selling the seas. What it's about to go into is this is the beginning of trade, like on a global scale. What you see Esau doing, on how Bishop brought out how the Chinese bring in the things for Puerto Rico. This is what King Solomon created in this time. Read.
And King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezion-Geber, which is beside Eloth, on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom. And Hiram sent in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea, with the servants of Solomon. And they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold, 420 talents, and brought it to King Solomon.
So let's see what they did with this gold, what King Solomon did with the gold that he had them bringing in. Jump over to chapter 10 and go to verse 16 through 20.
1 Kings chapter 10, verse 16. And King Solomon made 200 targets of beaten gold. 600 shekels of gold went to one target. And he made 300 shields of beaten gold. 3 pounds of gold went to one shield. And the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory and overlaid it with the best gold.
So he made the throne ivory. Everything was decked out in gold. It takes special skills and craftsmanship just to beat gold into what you want it to be. Read on.
Verse 19, the throne had 6 steps, and the top of the throne was round behind. And there were stays on either side on the place of the seat. And 2 lions stood beside the stays.
Read.
And 12 lions stood there on the one side, and on the other upon the 6 steps. There was not the like made in any kingdom.
So no kingdom ever looked like what King Solomon had on this earth. Keep reading on.
And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. So
you go to grandma's house, she got her best china, and it ain't nothing but some cheap glass. He had gold for everything. Read on.
It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom.
So King Solomon exceeded everything. In the chapter that we read before, when the Lord came to him in a dream, he gave King Solomon all these things because he didn't ask for a long life. He didn't ask for riches. But the Most High added these things to him because he loved his people and he wanted to do right by his people. And that's the same spirit that we got to have when we get certain positions, offices, or talents. Read on.
And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. And they brought every man his present, vessels of silver and vessels of gold, and garments and armor, and spices, horses and mules, a rate year by year.
Read.
And Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen, and he had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, whom he bestowed in the cities for chariots and with the king at Jerusalem.
Right now you hearing real life cribs in the Bible. Solomon had the city decked out. He had the throne decked out. He had many chariots, what we call cars today. The Bible calls them chariots. He had many chariots. Read.
And the king made silver to be in Jerusalem as stones, and cedars made he to be as the sycamore trees that are in the vale for abundance. And Solomon had horses brought out of Egypt in linen yarn. The king's merchants received the linen yarn at a price.
Read on.
And a chariot came up and went out of Egypt for 600 shekels of silver, and an horse for 150. And so for all the kings of the Hittites and for the kings of Syria did they bring them out by their means.
So that's where you cut these brothers that think that they Egyptians. The Egyptians was going over to the Israelites, to King Solomon for all their wisdom. They was paying tribute to us. We had all the glory of the earth. And that's the state, that's the mind state that we got to get out of, that we ain't nothing and we ain't never had nothing. Get Ecclesiastes chapter 2.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 4.
So this is still talking about King Solomon, about the works that he was doing, how involved he was with building the kingdom. Read.
I made me great works. I builded me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards, and I planted trees in them of all kind of fruits. I made me pools of water to water therewith the wood that bringeth forth trees.
So that lets you know off top, he was a master gardener. Some people think that that's a light job. It's hard to be a gardener, to know when to plant plants, how to deck it out. You see Issachar around where he cut them up into a squirrel, cut the bushes up and make a swirl, make it to different shapes. King Solomon was involved in these things, and he wrote many books about the many different things that he could do. Read on.
I got me servants and maidens, and had servants born in my house. Also I had great possessions of great and small cattle above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasure of kings and of the provinces. I got me men singers and women singers.
So I want to stop right there, because that's a talent as well. He had an ear for what sounded good. That's how he wrote so many different songs. All the proverbs, the psalms, some of the psalms that's in the Bible. He was a master at everything. So it was a what's a good word? It was an honor. So you don't treat that thing so light. You want to be the best, become the best. Let me get you let me get you an example of the type of honor, because we love music. Music make us feel a different type of way. Get verse, what is it? Where David, 1 Samuel 16 and 15. Because even King David, he was good with the hands on the harp. And it made the spirit that was in King Saul, it made it go away. It made him come back in the spirit every time King David played the harp with his fingers. Read.
1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 15. And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants which are before thee to seek out a man who is a cunning player on an harp.
So he needed somebody good that can play on the harp. That lets you know how powerful of an instrument that music plays in our culture, because it can make us feel high, it can make us feel low. It can bring devils out by some of the music that's created today. It's an important tool in our lives. So to have that talent is a good thing. Read to 16.
And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. And Saul said unto his servants, Provide me now a man that can play well, and bring him to me.
Verse 23.
Verse 23. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took an harp and played with his hand. So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him.
So if you got talents, use it in this truth, because the music that we produce, it make people feel good. When I was down in Austin, the bishops had a lot to say about the One Lily album, and you can't go nowhere in Israel without hearing Sons of God too. Everybody bumping that thing. It moves our people to want to, okay, I'm gonna endure. I want to be a ruler over the nations. It gives you that motivation. So my point in saying all of this is, if you got a talent, use it to the best of your ability, with all your heart, all your soul. Bring it into the truth and be in the spirit with it, because the Most High can easily take that thing away. And don't take it for granted that you have these talents, no matter how small you may think they are. They play a big part in building up this kingdom. Your words, I'm talking about even like poetry. If you got poetry, your words can change a person's spirit. And that's what happened with King Saul when David played the harp for him. Jump back to Ecclesiastes 2, where you left off.
Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 8. I gathered me also silver and gold, and the peculiar treasures of kings, and of the provinces. I gat me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men, as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me, and whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them.
So he said, whatever my eyes desired, I didn't keep it. He wasn't a selfish man. Any knowledge that he had, any idea that popped up into his head, he shared it freely with his brothers and sisters, with the nation of Israel. Even the other nations he shared knowledge with. Read.
I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my joy rejoiced, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on all the works that my hands had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness.
Hold right there. Get 1 Kings chapter 12, because I also want to show y'all the good, the bad with having talents and having people over you that don't know what to do with ordering a people. 1 Kings 12 and start at verse 3 and 4.
1 Kings chapter 12, verse 3. That they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father, and his heavy yoke which he put upon us lighter, and we will serve thee.
With all the things that King Solomon had going on, guess who was doing the work along with him? The people. So at this point, when the throne was passed on to his son Rehoboam, the people got tired. They were getting heavily taxed. They were doing this for the king, that for the king, building up the many temples and all the high places for the devil and for the Most High. He had the people so stretched thin. When this king came in, they needed a bit of a rest. Not saying that they wanted to quit. They just wanted to dial it back a little bit. Read on.
Verse 5, and he said unto them, Depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old men that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, How do ye advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and wilt serve them and answer them and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him.
So Rehoboam, he wasn't that wise. He wasn't wise like his father. And him being a leader, he got puffed up like, I'm the king. They have to do whatever I say regardless. And that's not a good attribute of a leader. When it said that you have to be a servant to the people, that means that you're giving yourself to the people. Your time, your effort, everything, when you're a leader, goes to them. Your whole focus is to make sure that you keep them safe. That goes for a father and a father or a husband to his family. You become a servant to the people. It's not the other way around. They not at your disposal just to treat them any kind of way. That ain't the spirit. Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them.
So this king didn't listen to him. So that's why you see the split between the nations even up until today. Is because they wanted a lighter way of life. They wanted to continue helping, but they wanted a lighter way. Get Sirach chapter 38 and 24.
Sirach chapter 38, verse 24. The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure.
So it's in your leisure time where you're going to get this knowledge. We have to find ways to balance out our time to study this Bible, to get the work done of this truth, and also the work of the world. Read on.
The wisdom of a learned man cometh by opportunity of leisure, and he that hath little business shall become wise.
The less that you have to do for the world, the more you're going to be able to study and sit down and get this understanding. Read.
Verse 25. How can he get wisdom that holdeth the plow?
So it's talking about a working man. How is he going to understand everything that he's supposed to do as it pertains to this Bible if he's always at work? If he's always got to be at work. Read.
And that glorieth in the goad, that driveth oxen and is occupied in their labors, and whose talk is of bullocks. He giveth his mind to make furrows, and is diligent to give the kind fodder.
It said hold on. His talk of, and whose talk is of bullocks. This is a person like every time you see him, they always talking about what they did at work. They always talking about what they created, what they doing only when it pertains to work. That's the only conversation that these people have. They can't get their mind out of it. You hear the sounds of work even when you at home. Your mind is consistently on working. Read.
He giveth his mind to make furrows, and is diligent to give the kind fodder. So every carpenter and workmaster that laboreth night and day, and they that cut and grave seals, and are diligent to make great variety.
You're very skillful. You're very good. You're cautious at what you're building. You make sure that it's done right in a timely manner. You meet all the criteria. Say the word. Criteria? Is that it? Criteria. You meet all the goals that your slave master tell you to do at work. Read.
And give themselves to counterfeit imagery, and watch to finish a work.
So you sitting there making sure everything is right. This is perfect. You got everything toned the way it's supposed to be when it comes to your job. Read.
Verse 28. The smith also sitting by an anvil, and considering the iron work, and vapor of the fire wasteth his flesh, and he fighteth with the heat of the furnace.
So this is a man that's sitting at the furnace. He's making a sword or some type of metal, and he getting hurt, physically hurt at work. And then when it comes to this truth, you can't get him just to walk down the street. Can't get him to read. Can't get him to come to Camp 101. But he's diligently doing these things for the world. You got to consider your way. Read.
The noise of the hammer and the anvil is ever in his ears, and his eyes look still upon the pattern of the thing that he maketh. He setteth his mind to finish his work, and watcheth to polish it perfectly. So doth the potter sitting at his work, and turning the wheel about with his feet, who is always carefully set at his work, and maketh all his work by number. He fashioneth the clay with his arm, and boweth down his strength before his feet.
So you see how carefully that this man is, and how diligent he is at keeping his work habits. All his work habits stay in line. Everything that he do, it's to the T. But when it comes to the Bible, you ain't like that. Read.
He applieth himself to lead over it, and he is diligent to make clean the furnace. All these trust to their hands, and everyone is wise in his work.
So it says, all these trust in their hands. These are the people that only trust in their skill. They just go to work. Whatever you want a brother to do, he'll do it for work. But when you ask him, hey, I need you to clean this up. Man, I just doing that all day at work, man. I ain't doing that, man. I'm good on that. This is part of the job, too. This is part of the building of the kingdom. How can I trust you to hold an office when I can't even get you to sweep, when I can't get you to wipe the toilets? How do you expect to lead a nation when you can't even be told what to do? Read on.
Verse 32. Without these cannot a city be inhabited, and they shall not dwell where they will, nor go up and down.
So it's saying workers are needed. People that work in the city, people that work with their hands, they're needed. A city can't go on without these type of people. But there's a balance that the Bible is trying to teach you that you got to have. You can't be all in this way and part in this way. It doesn't work. Read.
Verse 33. They shall not be sought for in public council, nor sitting high in the congregation.
And
They-
that's why you see certain brothers who's good in the truth, but you don't see them getting raised up because their whole obligation is only for what they can do with their hands, only for making money. If it ain't about money, then they don't want no parts. Hey, but he know them precepts though, but he ain't sitting high up in the congregation because it's something not right about his spirit. He's never at camp one-on-one. He's never teaching. He's never doing the things that's necessary to get the kingdom of heaven. Read.
They shall not sit on the judge's seat, nor understand the sentence of judgment.
You want to know why your discernment is off? It's because maybe that you're not paying attention to the things of the Bible. You're not paying attention to the things that you see the men of God trying to show you. You're so focused on your craft. Read.
They cannot declare justice and judgment, and they shall not be found where parables are spoken. But they will maintain the state of the world, and all their desire is in the work of their craft.
So all these people, your whole position now concerning this is you maintaining the state of the world. And that ain't our job as Israelites. Our job is to get out of this kingdom, to build our people up as much as possible. Going to work, for me, working, making money, that's just to maintain so I can keep coming here. That's my only reason of going out into the world is to maintain that life. So when I step on this side, I'm going even harder. If I work 8 hours out in a day, I'm 12 hours over here, barely getting any sleep, barely seeing my wife and kids because I want to make sure that I did my part to get up out of here. And we all got to have that spirit.
1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 5. There are differences of administrations, but the same Lord. There are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which worketh all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom, to another the word of knowledge by the same Spirit.
So some brother, he good at his actions as it pertains to this Bible. Some brothers get that. They hear something and they can act it out. Some people are given the knowledge of the Bible, meaning they can flip through the scriptures like from precept to precept, like I got a script, I got a script, I got a script, I know this script. He may have that knowledge. Read.
To another faith.
So another brother, he might have the faith out of the world. You see this brother like, dang, every time I see you, I know you going through things, but it never shows. Man, how you like that? Because the Most High gave him that spirit of faith that he know what he got to go through to get to the kingdom of heaven. So you don't see him bugged out. You don't see him depressed. He always up in spirit because that's the different spirit that the Most High gave him. Read.
To another faith by the same Spirit.
Read.
To another the gifts of healing by the same Spirit.
So that gift of healing, that's that person that can come talk to you and you were like, dang, man, I didn't see it that way. You made me feel much better by the words you were saying, what the precept that you use, I never thought about it like that. Or it could be a person that's actually a doctor. Read.
To another the working of miracles. To another prophecy. To another discerning of spirits. To another diverse kinds of tongues.
These are people that the diverse tongues. These are people that can speak many different languages. These things are needed in the body. To learn a different language so we can travel and be able to converse with the scattered Israelites. These are good gifts to have, to produce in the body. Read.
To another the interpretation of tongues. But all these worketh that one and the selfsame Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. For as the body is one and hath many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body.
So it's talking about that unity. Even though we have all these different gifts, all these different things going on, we're still one body. We supposed to be moving as a unit. All right, you got the faith. Okay, I'm going to follow you through the faith because my faith ain't that strong, so I'm going to follow you. And if you say we good, then I trust that the Spirit of the Lord is on you. You've been doing good this far, so I'm not going to pull you down. I'm going to follow your faith. Okay, you can speak tongues. Okay, I'm going to build you up so you can get good in the scriptures and speak to the other brother. That's how we got to be. That's how we got to be passing along. That's how King Solomon was. He said he freely gave this knowledge.
Verse 15. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body?
You do just as much with your feet, with your hand. Let one of your toes get cut off. You're going to see how precious that one toe was to your whole body. Or, matter of fact, on a smaller level, see if you injure one of your fingers and see how much that plays in your arms, your wrist. Read.
Verse 16. And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling?
So basically what it's saying, if one person was doing something that everybody else, if everybody else was doing one job, there's other jobs to do. Everybody can't just play one position. Everybody can't just be on sound. Everybody just can't be the cameraman. Everybody can't just be the teacher. We got to have somebody to protect the teacher. Everybody can't be the reader. We got to have somebody to read. To teach, to guard them. Everybody can't play the same position. It has to be spread out so everything can work correctly. Read.
Verse 18. But now hath God set the members, every one of them, in the body, as it hath pleased him. And if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are they many members, yet but one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body, which seem to be more feeble, are necessary.
So some of those things that you may think is a weaker link to the body, it's absolutely necessary. You won't even understand it until it's actually gone. And I was watching the last Passover video, and Deacon Yawasat was explaining Officer Barakbar how they didn't know certain things that he was doing in the body because he didn't tell anybody that he was doing it. Now that he wasn't there, they noticed that he was actually doing these certain things. Now we got to fill in the position. Now we have to start doing this thing because he's not in the place to do it anymore. Read on.
Verse 23. And those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness.
Some of these parts of the body, we may think that it has no need. Like, what does this brother do? What does he actually do? What does this sister actually do? You won't know until it's gone, or unless you ask them. Read.
Verse 24. For our comely parts have no need, but God hath tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that part which lacked, that there should be no schism in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another.
So what it's saying is the Most High made this thing perfect. He made it perfect. The things that you think you don't need, the Most High put them there because you actually need them. Don't question it. Read.
And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it.
I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't know how much my ribs played a part until I heard them. I can't lay on my side no more. I can't breathe. I can't breathe properly because of it. I didn't know how much I was using my muscles just to move like this. In the beginning, I didn't know that those muscles played that much of a part until I got injured, until I couldn't use them no more. So don't think of your brothers and sisters that you think are lesser than you, or even the ones that's greater than you as more important or lesser important. And that's the lesson that 1 Corinthians 12 is trying to say. The things that you need, use them as you need them. The things that you think are less, don't cast it off like you could do without it. Read on.
And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. Or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now ye are the body of Christ, and members in particular. And God hath set some in the church, first apostles, secondarily prophets, Thirdly, teachers. After that, miracles. Then gifts of healings, helps, governments, diversities of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Have all the gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But covet earnestly the best gifts, and yet show I unto you a more excellent way.
So it says, covet earnestly the best gifts. Some of you strive to be teachers. Some of you strive to be the best teachers, to teach like a certain deacon, like the bishops. That's a good thing to covet. But you got to go through the things that they went through just to get there. Make that your goal. To whatever gift that you got, sharpen it. Make it stronger so you can be what you think you should be in this truth.
All right. Now, I'd like to go to everybody in the room. I want to tell y'all something. Those of you that said, I don't know yet, which, okay, it's an honest answer. I understand that you may not think you know what you're good at or where your place is, where you belong. But I'm going to tell you something. Y'all are slowing us up. What I mean by slowing us up, what I'm saying is you got to know your craft. You literally, your profession is that gift that the Most High God has given you. Now, a lot of times, we say we don't know because we might be being bashful. You know what your gift is. You just may not want to say, okay, cool. But there are people who sincerely say, listen, I don't know what I'm good at. And it's not necessarily that you got to be good at something. Like I talked to Yona. Yona knows, IBL knows nothing when it comes to craftsmanship, when it comes to, okay, we about to rip this toilet up out the ground and fix this, that. I don't know how to do that stuff. Ezra knows. IBL has no clue when it comes to mechanics.
Where the screw was in the door.
Huh?
Where the screw was in the door of the car.
What door?
The Mercedes.
See, I don't know. Yeah, Ezra had to help me. Ezra knows that I know nothing about that. That ain't where my skill set is at. But I know where my skill set is at as far as my place. So what do? I play my role and I stay in my lane. I have no business. If one of you sisters ever have something like, sister came to me about her car being stuck over here. I didn't have any ideas other than let's pick it up. I can't give you the mechanic side of anything. I have no business being underneath your hood. That's just not me, So I stay in my lane. Know your gift, your craft, what the Most High has blessed you with, and do it to the best of your ability. Because when you do that, you're benefiting the body. Like he was going over. The kneecap, if the kneecap is in denial of being a kneecap, what will happen? Some of you older brothers know it. Y'all cold over here like, shh. My kneecap in denial right now. Listen, I know what time it is. My foot, my ankle don't want to be an ankle. Listen, you got to be an ankle. Otherwise, what happens to the body? It's out of order. So everybody has to play their roles. Everybody has to stay in their lane. Not saying that you don't desire to venture out, but first thing you got to do is you got to master your own craft. And then let's say you're a brother, and some of y'all, which I understand, y'all, okay, I'm good at labor, things of that nature. I understand. But as you grow in understanding, there's going to be other things that you're going to be able to branch off and do. But that gift that you have, you came straight to the school, and exact time the Lord brought the brother Yonah for what? For what everything that y'all see here. Everything is for a reason. So it's not just Yonah, it's Candace, it's Hannah, it's Gamaria, it's Davion, it's all y'all that's coming here. You have something that the body needs. So are we going to sit around and twiddle our thumbs? What should I do? The body needs you. Right now the body's limping. Okay, foot, when you going to get to work? That's all I got, bro.
You pretty much just summed up everything. Matthew chapter 5 and 13.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted?
And that, I'm glad that Deacon asked that, because this is exactly what you're saying. Like, I don't know my gift. Well, if you don't have flavor, body's saying, what are you the Bible is saying, what is it good for? Salt is supposed to make things taste better. It ain't supposed to just make chicken taste like chicken. It's supposed to add to it. And the Bible is saying the Israelites add to life. We add things to the world. We make the world much more better. Is that right? No, that ain't right. You know what I'm saying, though. But
Much more better.
Just
we
better.
make everything better.
Just better.
Like we take music and we put that bounce to it. We take clothing and we add that simple spice, that style to it. Read on.
It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men.
You're hurting yourself by not giving your talents, by not showing that this is the flavor that I bring to the body. Get Luke 17 and 20, and read to 21.
Luke chapter 17, verse 20. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation.
So like I said in the beginning, it takes work. It's going to take work to get to the kingdom. You can't just sit by and let it all pass you by. You have to put forth work. You have to put forth actions. Read on.
Neither shall they say, lo here or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you.
You can't be idle in this thing. You can't be looking around. It'll come one day. It'll be here one day. Read.
Behold, the kingdom of God is within you.
The kingdom of God is in us all. We all have the same Bible. We get the same understanding. But that understanding, it comes by leisure. You have to really sit down and study these things. It's going to be no different with everything else. You're going to struggle. You're going to have doubts. Get with that man or sister that has faith to say, hey, I've been through what you've been through. It took me a while to get it, but I got over that hump. Now I understand it. Now I'm better at it. A lot of times we cut ourselves short because it gets hard. That's when you know that you're about to make that breakthrough, is when it get hard. So don't buckle under that pressure. Rise to the adversity. Because a lot of times I see y'all get scared, y'all nervous to bring forth something that you're naturally good at. All you have to do is just bring it forth. And this class came about because certain brothers and sisters come up to me, hey, I have this, I don't know what I should be doing. Give me an office. Give me something to do. Go give me this to do. I'm like, bro, you got to figure out what you're good at and create it. If you in the spirit, get advice about it. Hey, I had this idea about this. What do you think? Sometimes you may get a no from me because of the timing. Or sometimes it just be something else overshadowed that at the moment, and we can't bring it out. But keep coming with the ideas. It's some ideas that I had from way back that's been implemented in its due time. So don't get discouraged when you hear no. Don't get discouraged when you hear wait. Some things just ain't meant to come out until a certain period of time. Keep coming with your ideas. Keep building up your skill, your craft.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates from all our YouTube channels. Shalom.